My son's mother-in-law faked her own kidnapping and even went as far as setting my house on fire in some twisted attempt at manipulation, so I had her deported without hesitation. Now, 5 years later, she's suddenly back, asking for forgiveness and a place to stay. But I come from a long line of proud, no-nonsense Americans, and we don't take betrayal lightly. My parents, their parents, and so on, you get the idea. So when my son finally brought some color into our family by marrying a beautiful woman from India, I was genuinely thrilled. She had this warm smile, never showed up without a thoughtful gift, and always offered to help with the dishes. She was just that kind of person. But there was one person who didn't share my excitement, her mother, Anna. The moment we met, Anna spit on the ground right next to me and said she couldn't believe I was letting this marriage happen. Now, I'm a bit of a history buff, so I know what America has done to other countries. I wasn't even mad. I just nodded and said, I hope we can build something good together, and invited her in. Just when I thought maybe we were making progress, she ran her finger along every surface in my house and pointed out all the dust. She sighed loudly at the full dishwasher and said, if you can't even manage the basics, how can I trust how you raised your son? That's when my patience snapped. It's one thing to talk about cultural differences, but judging how I raised my son? That crossed a line. Still, I reminded myself, it wasn't about me. It was about my son and his fiancée. So I kept my feelings in check and just smiled and nodded through the rest of the visit. The second she left, her daughter, my future daughter-in-law, Zara, started apologizing nonstop. She explained that her mom was having a hard time adjusting to cultural differences and that it wasn't personal. I told her she was family now and every family has things to work through. But deep down, I was lying. I didn't expect Anna to get worse. About a month later, we hosted another family barbecue at our place. My husband grilled his famous burgers with his secret sauce. Everything was perfect. We were all outside sipping homemade lemonade. Yes, I added too much sugar again when I heard it. A loud crash from inside the house. It sounded like glass shattering. Zara, Winston, my son, and I rushed inside. What I saw broke me. My grandfather's urn, his ashes, smashed on the marble floor. Anna stood over it with this cold, almost satisfied look. Zara screamed. Winston just held me. Consider it a blessing, Anna said, completely unbothered. It was a cursed item from a cursed bloodline. Your ancestors helped the British enslave ours. This is the least I could do in return. She sounded completely unhinged, but her face was dead serious, like her words were righteous. I started crying and went to get the broom, but Anna began stomping on the ashes, grinding them into the floor. That was Zara's breaking point. Ma, if you don't get the hell out right now, you'll never see your grandkids. I'll tell them you're dead. That worked. Anna lowered her head and stormed out. Once the door slammed behind her, Zara crumbled. She held me while I cried, and I felt her tears mixing with mine. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I put my hand over her mouth. None of this was her fault. It was all Anna. Winston carried me to the couch and took care of the mess. People have always said I'm too forgiving, too nice. I never really understood what they meant until after the wedding. In the days leading up to it, Anna was texting me constantly, apologizing. She said she didn't know what had come over her and wanted to move forward. She even offered to go dress shopping with me and said she'd pay. I didn't tell Winston because I knew he'd say no. So I just went. She helped me pick out a beautiful white dress. Apparently, in Indian weddings, the bride wears yellow and the guests wear white. She even showed me the white dress she'd be wearing, so I trusted her. But on the big day, I walked in and immediately realized I'd been set up. Every other woman was wearing color. I scanned the room for Anna, and there she was, across the venue, in a lavender dress. I was about to go find Zara to explain when I noticed a bottle of whiteout on one of the tables. And I guess rage sparks creativity, because I grabbed it and walked straight up to Anna. She was grinning, clearly proud of her little stunt. While she laughed about how funny it was, I unscrewed the bottle behind my back and dumped it all over the front of her dress. Looks like we're both wearing white now, I said with the biggest smile I could manage. I could tell she wanted to retaliate, but the ceremony was starting. She had no choice but to sit down, quiet as a mouse. And for the rest of the wedding, she actually behaved. But 2 days later, at 7 a.m., my doorbell rang. I shuffled to the door in my pajamas, thinking it was a delivery. Instead, it was Zara. Her eyes were red and swollen. She's at our place, she blurted out before I could say anything. She showed up with her bags, saying you threw her out violently and she had nowhere else to go. I brought her inside, made coffee, and tried to wrap my head around it. That's not true, and you know it. Of course I do, Zara said, taking the mug. But Winston, he feels bad. She said she'd be homeless, that she'd be sleeping on the streets in a foreign country. My stomach dropped. Please tell me he didn't let her stay. Zara didn't answer. Her grip on the mug tightened. Just for a few days, she finally said. Until she finds something else. His words, not mine. I sighed. Zara, she's never going to leave unless someone forces her out. Trust me, I've been there. I know, she whispered. But Winston, he's too kind. Like you. I flinched. Not anymore. I've learned my lesson. Zara looked at me, her eyes blazing. Teach me. Teach me how to stand up to her like you did. That afternoon, Winston called. His voice was strained. Mom, I think I made a mistake. Let me guess. Anna's taken over the house already. She rearranged the kitchen while we were at work. And she threw out all of Zara's makeup. Said it had demonic ingredients. He lowered his voice. She's also telling the neighbors we're having fertility issues, and that's why she had to move in, to perform some kind of fertility rituals. I nearly choked on my tea. Winston, you've been married 2 weeks. I know. It's humiliating. Mrs. Patel from next door brought over a fertility statue this morning. As serious as it was, I had to hold back a laugh. So, what are you going to do? He went quiet. I don't know, Mom. She's Zara's mom. I can't just kick her out. Why not? I did. That's different. You're not related to her. Neither are you. Not really. Mom, be serious. I need advice. I paused. Have you asked Zara what she wants? She says she wants her gone. But I can tell she feels guilty too. It's complicated. I sighed. Family always is. After we hung up, I paced the living room. The floor creaked under my feet. One thing was clear, this woman was now terrorizing my son and his wife. I couldn't just sit back and do nothing, but I also didn't want to cross any lines. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from Zara. She's going through our mail. Help. That was all I needed to hear. Invitation or not, I was going over there. When I got to Winston and Zara's place, I could hear arguing from inside. I knocked, and the voices immediately went quiet. Winston opened the door. He looked worn out, dark circles under his eyes. Mom, what are you doing here? Before I could respond, Anna showed up behind him wearing one of Zara's robes and a green face mask. Oh look, it's the woman who abandoned me, she said dramatically. Come to finish the job? I ignored her and stepped inside. The air was thick with unfamiliar spices. I brought dinner, I said, holding up bags of takeout I'd grabbed on the way. Where's Zara? She's in the shower, Winston said, clearly grateful for the food. Washing off the negative energy, Anna corrected. I told her she needs to cleanse herself 3 times a day if she wants to conceive. I bit my tongue so hard, I tasted blood. Winston, could you help me set the table? I said. Once we were in the kitchen, I whispered, this has to stop. She's completely taken over your lives. I know, he admitted. But how do we get her to leave without blowing up the family? Zara's already stressed enough. I paused, thinking, what if we found her another place to stay? Somewhere nice, but not with family. Winston's eyes lit up. Like a hotel? I'll pay for it. Or better, what about one of those extended stay places with a kitchen and everything? We could say it's a gift to thank her for traveling so far for the wedding. For the first time in days, Winston smiled. That might actually work. Over dinner, I brought it up casually. It must be exhausting staying here with a newlywed couple, I said sweetly, passing Anna a container of curry. You deserve your own space, somewhere you can relax without worrying about getting in Winston and Zara's way. Anna gave me a suspicious look. I'm perfectly comfortable here. Of course you are, I said smoothly. But wouldn't it be nice to have your own kitchen? Your own bathroom? No one to answer to. She was considering it. Zara picked up on the cue quickly. There's this really lovely place just 10 minutes away, super upscale. A lot of Indian families stay there when they visit. We'd cover the cost. Winston jumped in as a thank you gift. Anna took a sip of water, thinking it over. How long would this gift last? Until your flight home, I said firmly. 3 weeks, right? She asked with a frown. I might need to extend my stay. The reservation would be fixed, I replied, keeping my smile steady. But it's a really nice place, pool, gym, daily housekeeping. That last part seemed to sway her. I suppose I could consider it, for Zara and Winston's privacy, of course. The next day, Winston booked the extended stay hotel and helped Anna move her things. I let out a huge sigh of relief. Maybe we'd finally found a solution. Zara called me that evening, sounding happier than she had in days. It worked. She's gone. We deep cleaned the guest room and found all kinds of weird stuff hidden in there, strange powders, little dolls with hair stuck to them. Creepy stuff. Dolls with hair. I repeated, feeling uneasy. Yeah, one had what looked like Winston's hair. Another had something that looked like your hair color. A chill ran through me. Zara, those sound like, well, like they're used in certain rituals. Like what, voodoo dolls? She laughed, then stopped. Wait, you don't think she's actually— I don't know what to think anymore, I admitted. Just, maybe burn those dolls. Okay. For a few days, things were peaceful, almost too peaceful. Anna hadn't called or texted anyone, which was unusual. I should have felt relieved, but I had this growing sense of dread. That dread was confirmed a week later when Winston called, panicked. Mom, we have a problem. A big one. What is it? Is it Anna? She's gone. Just disappeared. Left all her stuff at the hotel but hasn't been seen in 2 days. The hotel called because she didn't answer when housekeeping knocked. My stomach dropped. Have you called the police? Not yet. I wanted to check if she'd reached out to you or Dad first. Nothing, I said. Then I hesitated. Winston, this feels planned. What do you mean? I mean, what if she's not actually missing? What if this is another one of her manipulation tactics? He was quiet for a beat. That's pretty dark, Mom. Darker than making voodoo dolls of your family? Point taken. So what do we do? File a missing persons report, I said. Cover your bases, but don't be surprised if she pops up with some wild story. Sure enough, 3 days later, Anna showed up at my front door, soaked from the rain, looking frantic. She launched into a wild story about being kidnapped by people who thought she was someone else. They kept me blindfolded in a basement, she said. Then realized they had the wrong person and let me go. And the first place you came was here? I asked. Not to Winston and Zara? Not the police. I knew you wouldn't believe me, she sobbed, mascara running down her face. But it's true. I was so scared. Despite my doubts, I couldn't leave her standing in the rain. I let her in and called Winston right away. She's here, I said, with an absolutely crazy story about being kidnapped. We'll be right over, he replied, sounding tired but relieved. While I waited, I gave Anna a towel and kept my distance. Something about the whole situation felt off. Why did you come here, Anna? Really? She wiped her eyes with the towel. Because you're the only one strong enough to protect me. Protect you from what? From them, the people who are after me. I crossed my arms. And who exactly is after you? Her eyes darted around. I can't say, but they're dangerous. They followed me from India. This is ridiculous, I muttered. If someone's after you, we need to call the police. No police, she shrieked, suddenly panicked. They're in on it too. When Winston and Zara arrived, Anna switched gears completely, going from paranoid to pitiful, throwing herself into Zara's arms and sobbing. Zara looked at me over her shoulder with a what the hell expression. She says she was kidnapped, I explained. And now mysterious people are after her, including, apparently, the police. Winston rubbed his forehead. Mom, can we talk privately? We stepped into the kitchen together. This is insane, Zara whispered. She's making it up. I agree, Winston said. But what can we do? We can't kick her out if there's even a tiny chance she's telling the truth. I sighed. She can stay here tonight. On the couch. Tomorrow, we figure out what to do next. That night, I barely slept. I kept imagining Anna wandering around the house, hiding more creepy dolls, or worse. Around 3 a.m., I heard a noise and went downstairs. She was in the kitchen, speaking quietly on the phone in a language I didn't recognize. When she saw me, she hung up quickly. Who were you talking to at 3 a.m.? I asked. Just checking on my sister in India, she said smoothly. Time zones, you know. Right, I replied, not buying it. Well, since we're both up, let's talk. This kidnapping story, I want details. Where were you taken? What did they look like? How did you escape? She blinked fast. I don't want to talk about it. It's too traumatic. Anna, if you're really in danger, we need info to help you. Otherwise, I'm calling the police in the morning. Her face turned cold. You really are a cold woman, aren't you? My daughter married into a heartless family. I leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Funny how fast you went from needing my protection to insulting me. She suddenly stood up. I'm going back to sleep. We'll talk about this in the morning. But by morning, Anna was gone. So was my purse with my wallet, keys, and phone inside. When Winston and Zara woke up, I had to borrow their phone to cancel all my credit cards. While I was on hold with the bank, I noticed Zara looking more and more uneasy. What is it? I asked, covering the phone. I just got a text from my aunt in India, she said slowly. My mom's been telling the entire family that you've been abusing her. She even sent pictures of bruises, saying you pushed her down the stairs. What? I nearly dropped the phone. I've never laid a finger on her. I know, Zara said quickly. But my relatives don't. They're all calling to check if I'm safe, asking if Winston's family is violent. Winston pulled her close. This is out of control. We need to put a stop to it before it gets worse. How? I asked. She's lying to people halfway across the world, and now she's stolen my identity too. Right on cue, Winston's phone rang. It was my husband calling from his business trip. Someone just tried to use your credit card to buy a plane ticket to Mumbai, he said. The bank flagged it and called me since I'm the secondary account holder. It's Anya, I said, my stomach sinking. She stole my purse last night. I'm coming home, he said. This has gone far enough. While waiting for him to return, we filed a police report for the stolen purse and contacted the embassy to alert them about potential identity theft. I was still explaining everything to a confused embassy official when Zara suddenly gasped at her phone. What now? I asked, already bracing for bad news. She just posted on Facebook saying she's moving in with us permanently to protect me from my abusive in-laws, Zara said, her voice shaking. She tagged all our wedding guests. Winston leaned over her shoulder. There are already dozens of comments. People are calling her brave and offering support. I felt sick. She's systematically destroying our reputations and trying to isolate you from us. That's not even the worst part, Zara said quietly. Look at the comments from my cousins. They're saying they always knew Americans weren't trustworthy. That I made a mistake marrying Winston. Winston's face fell. She's trying to break us apart. No, Zara said firmly, taking his hand. That's not going to happen. Ever. I'd never been prouder of my daughter-in-law than I was in that moment. That evening, my husband returned. We gathered around the dining table and held a serious family meeting. Zara had printed screenshots of Anya's Facebook posts, text messages to relatives, and even emails she'd sent to Winston's job implying he was unstable and needed supervision. This is deliberate, my husband said, scanning the evidence. She's trying to destroy your relationships, your reputations, and your independence, so she can control everything. But why? Winston asked. What did she even get out of this? Control, Zara said with a heavy sigh. It's always been about control with her. When I said I was marrying Winston and moving to America, she stopped eating for a week. When that didn't work, she threatened to disown me. When that didn't work either, she pretended to support me. Now that none of her old tactics have worked, she's escalating. So what do? Winston asked. We can't reason with her. We can't ignore her. And apparently, we can't kick her out without her stealing identities and spreading lies. My husband, ever the practical one, pulled out a notepad. First, damage control. Zara, you need to make a public post to counter her claims. Winston, contact HR at work and explain everything before she causes more problems. What about my purse? I asked. The police are already investigating that, he reminded me. But we should alert airport security too, in case she tries to fly out using your ID. We spent hours coming up with a counter strategy. By midnight, we had a detailed plan to respond to every part of Anya's smear campaign. We were tired, but united. The next morning, Zara posted a heartfelt message explaining that her mother was struggling with mental health issues and that the allegations against her in-laws were completely false. She included photos of us all smiling together and ended with a respectful request for privacy and understanding. The response was immediate. Friends and family flooded us with support. Even some of Zara's relatives in India expressed concern about Anya's behavior, saying it seemed extreme, even for her. But Anna herself was still missing. A few days later, my purse was found abandoned in a park. The cash and cards were gone, but my ID was still inside. The police said this suggested she wasn't planning to leave the country after all. Then what is she planning? I said aloud. We didn't have to wait long to find out. 3 days later, Winston and Zara's neighbor called in a panic. There's smoke coming from your house, she cried. I already called the fire department, but I thought you should know. We raced over. Fire trucks were already on the scene, spraying water on flames coming from the kitchen. A crowd of neighbors had gathered. Do we know how it started? Winston asked a firefighter. Looks like someone left candles burning, arranged in some kind of pattern on the floor. Zara and I looked at each other. Ritual candles, she whispered. Just like my mother uses. As if summoned, Anna pushed through the crowd, sobbing loudly and putting on a dramatic show. My daughter's home. Her wedding gifts. Her memories. How could this happen? She rushed over and threw her arms around Zara. My poor child. Don't worry. You'll come live with me now. Zara pulled back. With you? And where exactly are you living? Last I heard, you vanished after stealing my mother-in-law's purse. Anya hesitated, just for a second. Then she straightened up. I've been staying with friends. People who understand what I've been through with your cruel family. What friends? Winston challenged. Name one. She ignored him and turned to the neighbors. You see? You see how they treat me? After all I've done for them. A firefighter approached. The fire's under control, mostly limited to the kitchen and living room. Do you folks know anything about those candles? They were in a circle with some kind of powder. Before anyone could answer, Anya gasped loudly. Black magic. That's what I've been trying to warn you about. She practices dark arts. She pointed directly at me. I almost choked. What? She used those candles to drive me out. I caught her, and now she's trying to silence me. Some neighbors pulled out their phones and started recording. That's enough, my husband said, stepping forward. Officer, this woman is Zara's mother. She's been harassing us for weeks. She stole my wife's purse. We filed a police report. Now there's a fire with ritual candles, just like the kind she uses. The officer looked from us to Anya. Ma'am, I'm going to need to see some ID. Anya's face twisted in fury. You're all against me. All of you. She turned to run, but 2 officers blocked her path. Ma'am, please calm down, one said. We just want to ask you a few questions. What happened next left everyone stunned. Anya collapsed onto the ground, her eyes rolling back. Foam bubbled at her lips as she started convulsing. She's having a seizure, someone yelled. Call an ambulance. Paramedics rushed in, loading her into the ambulance. And despite everything, Zara insisted on going with her. She's still my mom, she said quietly to Winston. I'll call you from the hospital. Hours later at the hospital, a doctor pulled Zara, Winston, and me aside. Physically, your mother is fine, he said. The seizure was self-induced. Some people can train themselves to do it. As for the foam, she had a small pack of antacids hidden in her cheek. She faked the whole medical emergency. I stared at him, shocked. You're saying she made it all up? It appears so, the doctor confirmed. Our psychiatrist would like to assess her. This type of behavior points to some serious underlying mental health issues. Zara looked crushed. I knew she could be manipulative, but this is beyond anything I imagined. The evaluation only confirmed what we already feared. Anya was suffering from a severe personality disorder, marked by manipulation, pathological lying, and an extreme inability to handle rejection. The psychiatrist recommended inpatient care. But since Anya wasn't a U.S. citizen, there were problems with insurance and legal authority. The best solution might be for her to return to India, the psychiatrist suggested. There, she can get the treatment she needs in a more familiar environment. Zara nodded, trying to hold herself together. I'll contact my family. My aunt's a doctor, she might be able to arrange something. Anya stayed in the hospital for the next week while we worked out the details. Insurance covered the fire damage at Winston and Zara's home, but they'd need to live with us for about a month while repairs were made. Every day brought new drama. Anya tried to check herself out against medical advice. She called relatives back in India, spinning stories about being held hostage in an American hospital. She even tried to get a nurse to smuggle out a letter full of wild accusations against us. Still, through all of it, our family held strong. Zara and Winston's relationship didn't break, it deepened. My husband and I found our old rhythm again, and I uncovered a level of inner strength I didn't know I had. Finally, the day came to send Anya back to India. Her sister flew in to escort her, and arrangements were made for her to enter a treatment center upon arrival. At the airport, Anya was oddly calm. You think you've won, she murmured to me while the others handled the luggage. But this isn't over. Zara will come to her senses. Blood is thicker than water. I looked her in the eye. You're right about one thing, Anya, blood is thicker than water. But love? Love is thicker than blood. And no matter what you've done, we still love Zara enough to protect her, even from you. For a moment, something like respect flickered in her eyes. Then it disappeared, replaced by that cold, calculating look I'd come to recognize. We'll see, she said, turning away. We stood there, watching as Anya and her sister boarded the plane. Zara leaned against me with a deep sigh. Is it really over? She asked. I wrapped my arm around her. For now. But something about Anya's parting words stuck with me. This woman had desecrated my father's ashes, stolen my identity, possibly set fire to her daughter's home, and faked a seizure, all to stay in control. What would she try next, from halfway across the world? As the plane disappeared into the sky, I made a silent promise. Whatever came next, we'd face it together. And I would never again be too nice when it came to protecting my family. I had no idea how soon that promise would be put to the test. On the drive home, Winston and Zara chatted about kitchen paint colors, but my mind kept circling back to Anya's final words. My husband squeezed my hand. She's gone, he whispered. It's over. The next 2 weeks were surprisingly peaceful. Having Winston and Zara stay with us felt like a gift, extra time with our son and the daughter-in-law we'd come to love. We cooked together, binged awful reality shows, and helped them choose new furniture to replace what the fire had destroyed. Zara got occasional updates from her aunt about Anya's treatment. Supposedly, she was cooperating at the facility, suspiciously cooperative, given her past behavior, but I kept my doubts to myself. Why stir the pot when things finally felt normal? Then came the emails. The first one landed in my inbox with the subject, a mother's forgiveness. I almost deleted it as spam until I noticed who sent it, Anya. I am writing to extend my deepest apologies for my behavior. The doctors have helped me see how wrong I was. I hope someday you can forgive me. I only want what's best for my daughter and your son. It sounded too normal. I forwarded it to Zara, who called me immediately. She sent me one too, she said, voice trembling. She wants to do a video call this weekend. My aunt says the doctors believe family communication would be good for her. What do you want to do? I asked gently. I don't know, Zara said. Part of me wants to believe she's finally changing. But the other part remembers everything. Exactly, I said. After talking it over with Winston and my husband, we agreed to do a supervised video call with Anya's therapist present. What could go wrong? Everything, as it turned out. The call started off normal. Anya appeared calm, sitting in what looked like an office next to a woman she introduced as Dr. Kapoor. She apologized again, asked about the house repairs, and seemed genuinely curious about Winston and Zara's life. Then, out of nowhere, she mentioned her upcoming discharge. Discharge, Zara repeated, startled. Already? It's only been 2 weeks. Dr. Kapoor feels I've made incredible progress, Anya said smoothly. Isn't that right, doctor? The woman nodded. Anya has been very cooperative with treatment. Something felt off. Dr. Kapoor never quite looked at the camera, and her answers felt rehearsed. I leaned in, studying the room behind them more carefully. Then I noticed a framed photo, a family portrait. and it was a woman who looked just like Dr. Kapoor, standing next to Anya. Zara, I said slowly, is Dr. Kapoor related to your mom? Anya's smile twitched for just a moment. Zara gasped. That's my mom's cousin Priya. She's not a doctor, she runs a clothing boutique. The act collapsed in an instant. Anya's face twisted with rage. You think you're so smart, she spat, no longer pretending to be sorry. You've turned my daughter against me. Mom, Zara said, her voice shaking, you're not even getting treatment, are you? Treatment for what? For trying to protect my daughter from the Americans who stole her away. Anya hissed. I don't need treatment. But don't worry, I've already started something you can't stop. Then the call cut off. Winston immediately contacted Zara's aunt, who confirmed our worst fears. Anya had left the facility just 3 days after arriving, claiming a family emergency. No one had seen her since. What did she mean set things in motion? My husband asked, pacing. Nothing good, I said darkly. The very next day, Winston's boss called. Someone had emailed the entire company doctored images of Winston in compromising situations, along with fake text messages suggesting he was having an affair. They're clearly fake, his boss said, but HR still wants to talk. While Winston dealt with that, Zara discovered her social media had been hacked. Posts appeared saying she was miserable and planning to move back to India. She's trying to ruin our lives from across the ocean, Zara said, trying to regain control of her accounts. Then my phone rang. It was Rachel, my best friend since college. Are you okay? She asked. I just got a weird email from you. What kind of email? I asked. It says you're having a breakdown and need money for medical bills. There's a link to some foreign bank. It doesn't sound like you, but it had specific details about your dad's ashes. Ice flooded my veins. Anya, how many people had she reached? How much damage was she doing? In the following days, it only got worse. Complaints were filed against my husband's business. Our credit scores dropped overnight. Winston's car was keyed in his work parking lot. The police were sympathetic, but said without solid proof linking Anya to the attacks, they couldn't do much. We can't just play defense, I said during our nightly crisis meeting. We need to fight back. How? Winston asked, exhausted. She's overseas. Zara, who had been scrolling her phone, suddenly froze. Maybe not, she whispered. My cousin just posted a picture from a downtown restaurant, and look who's in the background. She turned her screen toward us. There, sitting at a table behind her cousin, was Anya. She's here, I whispered. She's in the city. That photo was posted an hour ago, Zara said. She might still be there. My husband grabbed his keys. Let's go. We got to the restaurant about 20 minutes later, but Anna was already gone. The waiter remembered her, though. Oh yeah, the woman who complained about everything. She mentioned she was staying at the Westbrook Hotel. With that bit of information, we started thinking through our next move. Going to confront her head-on felt risky. Who knew what she was capable of? But the police hadn't been much help up to this point either. I have an idea, Zara said suddenly. But it's a little sneaky. At this point, I replied, sneaky is exactly what we need. Zara's plan was simple but brilliant. She would text her mom pretending to have a change of heart. She'd say the constant stress and attacks had made her realize she belonged with her family in India, not with Winston in America. She'd suggest a private meeting to talk about going back. She'll never believe I suddenly turned on you, Zara told Winston. But she might believe I'm finally giving in to the pressure. It's what she wants. It's risky, Winston said. What if she tries to kidnap you or something? We'll be right there, I reassured him. And we'll have everything recorded. The trap was set. Zara made plans to meet Anna the next day at a cafe near the hotel. We got there early, found a spot with a clear view, and waited. My husband had called a friend from college, Declan, who now worked as a private investigator. He came along to document everything. Anna showed up right on time, looking smug as she spotted Zara sitting alone. I held my breath as she walked over to her. I knew you'd come to your senses, we heard Anna say through the hidden mic in Zara's purse. They've been poisoning your mind. You were right, mother, Zara replied, her voice sounding genuinely defeated. I've been miserable. Everything's falling apart. I can't take it anymore. Anna practically beamed. Of course you can't. I had to make you see the truth. Make me see. Zara asked, pretending not to understand. What do you mean? And then, shockingly, Anna spilled everything. She admitted to hacking their accounts, sending fake emails, even hiring someone to slash Winston's tires. She talked about bribing her cousin to pose as a doctor, and how she never entered treatment at all. She even confessed to setting fire to their kitchen, using candles and powders to make it look like some sort of dark ritual. I did it to save you, she insisted. To bring you home, where you belong. And what about Winston? Zara asked. He loves me, Anna scoffed. Men are replaceable. Family is forever. You're right about one thing, Zara said, her voice suddenly confident. Family is forever. And Winston's family is mine now. She stood up just as we walked over to the table. Anna froze when she saw us and Declan holding his camera. You tricked me, she snarled at Zara. I learned from the best, Zara said coolly. Declan stepped forward. We've recorded everything. Your confessions to identity theft, harassment, vandalism, fraud, and arson. All federal crimes. The police are on their way. Anna lunged at the camera, but my husband stepped in front of her. It's over, Anna. For real this time. The police showed up minutes later. With the recording and all our documented proof from the past few weeks, they arrested her on multiple charges. As she was being led away, she turned to me with a cold stare. This isn't over, she hissed. The same words she'd said at the airport. But this time, I smiled. Yes, Anna. It is. The legal process moved faster than we expected. Faced with solid evidence and the threat of serious jail time, Anna accepted a plea deal, immediate deportation, a permanent ban from entering the U.S., and financial restitution for everything she damaged. None of us went to the airport that day. Instead, we gathered at Winston and Zara's freshly renovated home for a housewarming party. The kitchen had been completely redone, no sign of the fire. The living room had new furniture, new paint. It felt like a fresh start. As we toasted with glasses of sweet lemonade, Zara leaned against me with a quiet sigh. I keep waiting for something else to happen, she admitted. Another email, some other disaster. I think it's really over this time, I said, squeezing her shoulder. She can't touch us anymore. I should feel sad, Zara said. She's still my mom. But honestly, I just feel free. That's okay, I told her. Some people just don't belong in our lives, not even family, because all they do is destroy. 6 months later, we got a thick envelope from India. Inside was a formal letter from Anna's sister, saying Anna had actually entered a real treatment center this time. There was also a handwritten note from Anna. I still believe I was right to fight for my daughter, it read, but I see now that my ways were wrong. The doctors say I might never understand why it was wrong, but I can learn new behaviors. I won't contact you again unless I'm invited. This is my final goodbye. Zara read the letter twice, folded it carefully, and put it away. Do you think she means it? She asked me later. I don't know, I answered honestly. But even if she doesn't, we know how to deal with her now. A year after their wedding, Winston and Zara invited us over for dinner. They seemed giddy, whispering and grinning through the meal. Then, over dessert, Winston shared the big news. We're having a baby, he said, beaming. Joy washed over me like sunshine. That's amazing, I said, hugging them both. As the celebration continued, I noticed Zara looking a little lost in thought. What is it, sweetheart? I asked. I was thinking about my mom, she said quietly. Should I tell her she's going to be a grandmother? The room went still. It was a tough question, and there was no clear right answer. That's your choice, I told her gently. Whatever you decide, we're behind you. Zara nodded slowly. Then she smiled. I think I'll wait, she said. See if she's really changed. This baby deserves better than what I had. This baby has you, I reminded her. And Winston. And us. That's already more than enough. That night, as my husband and I drove home, he glanced at me. What are you thinking about? Family, I said. How it's not always what you expect. Disappointed, he teased. I thought about Winston and Zara, about the baby on the way, about everything we'd survived. Not even a little, I said. Anna had tried to tear us apart because she couldn't accept change or difference. But by standing together, by protecting each other, we built something stronger. Something real. A family not made by blood or tradition, but by love and by choice. And that's something worth fighting for. That's everything.